בורחים, שנים כולם חוזרים, עוטפים אחרי השמש, שבויים בתוך מעגלים, כולם מסובכים, אז מה את עוד חולמת? שנים הם מסתירים, שנים כולם יודעים, אבן מתהפכת, בלילות ובימים.
Idan, welcome. Hello. It's a pleasure. The first thing I'm wondering if we can talk about, my area is Bible and ancient text. And it tells us very quickly that a person's essence is in their name. And your name is Idan. And it really means two things. It means an era, a historic period, but the root of it also means a flowing place, like Gan Eden, Idan. It's very flowing. And I'm wondering which one you feel is more connecting to you, which one you feel describes you more.
First of all, my Hebrew, I'm very influenced by the old school Hebrew, old school poetry, but also from the biblical texts. Also from, you know, living downtown Tel Aviv, you talk it's kind of a Hebrew that my parents wouldn't even understand today. Today, Tel Aviv becomes such a multicultural place, and it's a real melting pot for all the people who are coming from all over. So even the language becomes something new. I think also talking about era or generations. You know, in my project, music-wise, I'm working with the youngest person in the project is 16 years old, and the young spirits are 83 and 89 years old. Also coming from different places around the world, which for me symbolize different eras of time. People who came to Tel Aviv from the classical music from Moscow, singing and playing side by side with the people who immigrate to Israel from East Africa, from the hardcore villages of Ethiopia. So I think it's this project, and what I am is bringing it all together.
Well, as you're speaking, it's interesting because I'm hearing that you're saying it's both. On the one hand, it's these different eras, but you're creating the flow. You're getting each one to speak to the other and to create this momentum and this flow. So it really does speak to both. You mentioned Tel Aviv, and what I find really interesting, because I know that you're from Tel Aviv, people have told me they see you biking around Tel Aviv often, and you've mentioned in an article, you said that you like to listen to the streets of Tel Aviv, to hear the sounds, as you've just said. And in your songs, you're bringing in some biblical images. And a lot of it is coming from Psalms, Song of Songs. It's the voice of David, it's the voice of Solomon. And yet Tel Aviv is often seen as the most secular of the Israeli cities. So I look at that, and my question is, are you bringing in these ancient voices to create another bridge, to almost come to Israeli youth or the secular city of Tel Aviv, to deliberately bring in this ancient voice and force or bridge it into the modernity of Tel Aviv? Is that something that you're sensing you're doing? Is it just naturally happening?
Yeah. First of all, I grew up in Kfar Saba, which is 20 minutes from Tel Aviv. In my street, one sidewalk was very secular community, but on the other side of the sidewalk, it was just on the other side was very Orthodox Yemenite people. So I grew up in this mixture. Also, downtown Tel Aviv, the most known street in Tel Aviv is Shenkin Street. In this street, you will find ultra-Orthodox Jewish people living side by side with the most open community, all the gay community, the secular community living side by side in this street. I think that me getting back to this text, the biblical text, I read the Bible often. I think that you should know, you should remember where you came from, most if you want to know where you're heading to, and also once Agatha Christie said that the most important things they had already been written or told, and all that is left for us is just to repeat it in our contemporary way. So I think it's kind of a mixture. For me, Yeah, I think that there are no better songs or moving songs more than songs of King Solomon and Psalms or all these books are the essence and the roots of not only for Jewish people, by the way.
Yes, no, definitely. They're quite
Yes.
universal.
Yeah.
And the way that you bring them in, you create this sacred place between a man and a woman. And you bring in an ancient voice to create the foundation for that place. And then you create the mystery. You use phrases of yearning, and then you say, Rachael, you're the only one who knows. But then you never tell the person listening, what is that secret? Or when she's yearning to see the man, and she says, you know, who will I put on simla shel chag, the dress of the festival, not the beautiful dress, the dress of chag, that it creates this holiness to that union. And I'm wondering why you keep it private, why you keep it as a mystery between the man and the woman, without letting your audience or the reader of the poetry, the beauty of the songs, to let them into that space. You protect it, you keep it very private.
First of all, my life, the way that I live is very private. Although I live downtown Tel Aviv, everyone knows my phone number, my cell number. We can dial to the operator and have it, you know. But in my four walls, everything is very private. I'm not. You won't find me giving interviews about my traumas here and there. And I think this, talking about my personal life, talking about the relationship between a man and a woman, I think that this generation, I don't know how it is here in Canada or in the US, but in Israel I find it really sad that sometimes I see 14-year-old girls already dressed like something that it's. I wouldn't want my daughter to dress like this. I see a lot of violence on TV, in the media. I think the beauty of relationship is the secrets that between the man and the woman, even the private secrets that they're trying to even discover and to know about each other. I don't think that you have to talk about everything, like all this talking. We have to talk about us. So I think that the beauty is the secrets, and the beauty is the discovered by clues, by something like the intimacy that between the man and the woman. Yeah.
You also bring in beautiful subtleties. There's a song that you have that I listen to it, and it's almost like it's Shir Hashirim gone wrong. It's the Shoshanim, the sad Shoshanim, and oftentimes people translate that as roses, and it isn't. In the Bible, Shoshanim are lilies, and
Yes.
lilies are poisonous. And so to have the man venture always attracted to the Shoshanim, and the woman won't follow him there because it's not in her nature to do that. You're bringing that out in beautiful subtlety. Is that the kind of thing that you want to keep subtle? Do you feel like it should come more forward and more pronounced to a younger generation, as you're saying, that might crave that message?
Talking about the essence of my songs or the meanings, I always say that once you write a song, it's yours, but when you publish it, when it's on the radio,
Right.
it's not yours anymore.
Right.
I would be very happy that if 200 years ago, ahead, from now in the future, someone will forget that I wrote the songs, and they will just sing it as a village songs or as a public domain. Something that you don't know, because I think that, not to compare, but just to understand that, nowadays you can hear Let It Be of Lennon McCartney, people in churches are singing. Maybe, I think that 200, 300 years from now, Lennon and McCartney will not be important. Let It Be is what will stay and what will be important. So for me, the songs, once I write it, I don't even bother to explain it. I write it from the bottom, from the deep of my heart and my soul, and then it's yours.
מה הזמן מסמן? זה הכל שאריות של החיים. ולחיות את הרגע